Do squats, do some push-ups, do some rows. You'll be in a better place. And if we can remind ourselves that there is power in those small wins, the rest of the day is going to look completely different. It doesn't mean you don't do more, right? If you look at it and say, oh, I have 30 minutes, it's like, fantastic. What are the really valuable actions you're going to pack into those 10? Do you wake up feeling scattered? Do you have the desire to change your body, get healthy, and build new habits, but you still fall into that cycle of being inconsistent? We know how hard it is to prioritize yourself when you have your business, your career, your family, and your personal life vying for your attention and time. And that's why today we want to show you a simple and effective routine you can put in place for 10 minutes a day that will make it so you can start building healthy habits, start seeing the results that you want, and more importantly, end each day feeling successful. My name is Brian Pickowitz.
And I'm Lindsay Pickowitz, and we are the head coaches at The Fitness Project, where we build fit and healthy leaders. Our mission at The Fitness Project is to help those leaders, whether they're business owners or high-level professionals, really optimize themselves, which means build a body that they're comfortable in, that they're proud of, make sure their energy's on point and dialed in every day, and really set a new standard for how they're taking care of themselves and how they're taking care of their health. Now, if you're here and you're watching this and you do feel scattered every day, then you probably are really, really frustrated that even though you want to prioritize your health, you know it's important, you're still really struggling to implement. Mm-hmm. And that's why before we dive in, we want to set the stage a little bit. If you were to intervene and go from scattered to more organized, where might you start? Where in your day would you intervene? Would it be on your lunch break? Would it be after work's done? Would it be right before bed when everybody else has gone to sleep? No, that is not the best place to start. Ideally, we want to start with your morning before the whole day begins, before you've expended energy on everyone and everything else. That is the most impactful way to really take back your health and take back control of your habits. Right? And from our experience with working over 1,000 clients at this point, morning truly is the time that makes the biggest difference because that is the optimal place to build a keystone habit. And so a keystone habit, if you haven't heard us discuss this in the past, is the single habit you put in place that starts to influence the rest of your day. It's the small win. It is the small domino that starts the other dominoes falling down in place. And in the book, Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg talks about how you're really leveraging the psychology of small wins. The real important thing to realize about keystone habits is you most likely already have some. They just don't make you feel good, right? So if you think of someone who wakes up 30 minutes before they need to get out the door, that's probably anxiety provoking. It's full of stress. It's like, oh my God, I gotta get out of work. And so when you are in that state, you're actually creating a keystone habit that moves into the rest of your day. Just like someone who wakes up and checks their email and gets a triggering email, that's a keystone habit. The rest of your day is just a little bit on edge, right? And so we've all been there. We've all experienced that. And with that recognition and awareness, we can start building new habits, right? So we want to start influencing the rest of our day by looking at how can we put a habit in place that reminds us of our intention, that gives us focus. If you haven't lived the last 5 years or 10 years as a healthy person, just thinking, okay, I'm going to willpower my way is not going to be enough. That time in the morning actually starts to change the way you think, because most of what we do every day is unconscious. It's automatic. The way you get from your bed to the bathroom, from the bathroom to the clothes on to work, all those things are routines. They're automatic. And then you can think of even the rest of your day as automatic too. Yep. If you start your days differently, you actually shift the rest of the routines. You shift the rest of the habits. And so obviously we're going to tell you some strategies. We're going to give you some tactics to start this morning routine because it's going to be a little bit different than what most people suggest. But it's just so important to recognize giving yourself that small window, that small win. It is life-changing. And it can be really small, right? I think that there's this fallacy that we have about what the perfect morning routine needs to look like. And I would pin a lot of that back to the book that came out in 2012, The Miracle Morning, right? It painted this picture of this perfect morning routine that's 60 minutes that includes meditation and breathwork and visualization and exercise and all these different things that create that perfect start to the day. Now, would that be great to have a morning and a whole hour every morning where you could just take care of yourself and spend that time on your health mentally and physically? Of course, that would be wonderful. But the challenge is that, unfortunately, when that's the expectation of self, it tends to be really, really difficult to maintain, especially if you're in a season that just is very demanding. You are waking up exhausted, and then you're telling yourself, oh, I need to wake up an hour earlier so I can do all these things. And every day, you might go into that with an intention of waking up early, but unfortunately, you miss the alarm and you were a little tired, you got to sleep late last night, and then you end up just feeling like a failure because you didn't have your perfect miracle morning routine. And it's kind of counterproductive, right? So instead of being a perfectionist with our morning routine, hint, hint, we want to give you something that is much more doable, that might almost sound too simple. Like, is this really going to work? But that's the whole point.
It's exactly the point, and that's why it will work, right? And so one of the things we talk a lot about is when we're building habits, we talk about the 1% rule. Every one of our clients at the Fitness Project, they get a wristband that says get 1% better every day. And one of the things we also talk about is the 1% mindset. So that is really taking a lot of what James Clear talks about in Atomic Habits when he talks about leveraging small wins and how they compound over time. And so what he talks about in the book is that if you get 1% better every day, you will be 38% better by the end of the year, right? Because those habits compound. Now, the better way to think of this is that you're setting a new foundation that's 38% higher, right? If you don't have a morning routine, if your morning routine is chaos, going from 0 to 1 hour, that's not 1%. And you can even think about it objectively, right? Because like, what's 1% of my day look like to be better today? It's a little subjective, right? It's a feeling. But if we were objectively looking at it, let's say you have 24 hours in the day, right? So you sleep 7 hours. Let's conservatively say you sleep 7 hours. That would leave you with 17 more hours throughout the day. And that would roughly equate to 1,020 minutes. Okay, so 1,020 minutes. That is the time that you have to work, to take care of your kids, to drive to work, to rest or relax or even exercise. Well, where do we find 1%? We're talking about 10 minutes. 10 minutes. 10 minutes in your morning to set yourself up for success. And so we can objectively look at the 1% rule and say, hey, I'm going to carve out 10 minutes every day, every morning, to do something that's going to set me up for success, that's going to anchor me to my progress. And if we can remind ourselves that there is power in those small wins, the rest of the day is going to look completely different. It doesn't mean you don't do more, right? If you look at it and say, oh, I have 30 minutes, it's like, fantastic. But what are the really valuable actions you're going to pack into those 10? Right? If you can do more, fantastic. But the most important thing when we talk about building new habits is that you can fall into them easily. How much time it takes you, that's going to be different this day, different that day. We're really talking about the amount of time it takes you to get into the motion, right? Because working out actually isn't a habit. Going to the gym is, right? Putting on your shoes, doing something that is so simple and easy for you to get into. So that way, when it comes to execution, you're already there, right? So when we talk about the 1% rule, we're going to break it down to 10 minutes. And if you can add 10 minutes into your morning, it's going to change your life.
Yeah, if you don't have 10 minutes, you don't have a life. So making that space in those 10 minutes and being dedicated just to 10 minutes, it will make a world of difference, especially if you imagine 10 minutes every day, every week, every month. That really does make a difference in your health and well-being. But we're not just going to leave you there. We're not just going to say, hey, yeah, build a 10-minute routine, like do something for yourself in your morning. That's a great idea, and that's the mindset, right? But what to do in those 10 minutes to make it as effective as it can possibly be, that's where we want to take you next. Because after coaching thousands of clients, we have seen consistently that there are 5 routines that someone can do in their morning that radically change the course of their day. And over days and weeks and months, it does add up and it becomes a much stronger foundation than trying to jump to a 60-minute perfect morning routine or working out every day. Okay. So we're going to break down the top 5 for you. First one, when you think of those first 10 minutes of your day, you roll out of bed, right? If you can sit down with pen and paper and create a power list, you are going to see a radical difference in your energy and focus throughout the day. What is a power list? Let's break it down. A power list starts with an intention for the day, which is just how do you want to approach your day? And I'll give some examples in case that sounds too vague. How do you want to approach your day? Well, going into this very busy workday, I want to be dialed, focused, and bring energy to my day. Okay? I want to approach my calls today and make sure I feel totally present and loving towards every person I speak to on my team or sales calls, whatever is on my calendar. My intention today is to be patient. I know I have some really difficult conversations, or I know that my kids are really struggling right now. I want to bring a sense of patience and grace to my day. Think about just that. I'll explain the rest of the power list in a second, but the power of just that. Having a very clear intention sets you up so that if you're going to go into a challenging situation, whether or not you expected it, and bring the best of yourself to that, how much less energy is that going to require of you than if you unexpectedly go into a challenging situation, like prepared for battle, and you're just already stressed, already anxious, already kind of overwhelmed and frustrated that it's even happening. You're going to be much more reactive, right? Mm-hmm. If you have this really clear intention, that fire pops up, you're going to say, okay, I already told myself I was going to be patient and gracious today. All right. You go into it with a much clearer head. Makes a huge difference, especially if you wrote it down. Now, the other part of the power list for your morning 10-minute routine, after you write down your intention, which might be a word or phrase or sentence, is to then ask, what are the top 3 to 5 results for my day? Not my to-dos, but my things that I'm going to get done.
These are your big stones, right? You're thinking of it as the 20% efforts that create 80% of the results.
Exactly. Yes. So what is your 80-20 for the day? And maybe one of those things is complete a 30-minute workout. Maybe one of those things is have 2 healthy meals because you are working on your health. But then the others might be, hey, make sure I close 2 deals today. Make sure that I have that hard conversation with my staff member today. Get that power list down and done so that you're not fumbling into your day and doing small little tasks that just absolutely sap your creative energy. And then it's 2:00 and you're already tired. And it's like, all right, well, the day is kind of over at this point. What else can I do?
Yeah, and what you're really doing is you're creating a criteria for success, because you are going to have dozens of things to get done. We know you're going to have dozens of things to get done. You're a person, right? You know, you have a business, you have a career, you have kids, you have family. The key is understanding that we want to make each day a win, and not every task is equally valuable, right? And you will see that throughout your day, if you actually analyzed your time, there are 2 to 3 to maybe 5 tasks that if you got them done, those move the needle forward the most. Mm-hmm. And so it's really asking, what are the tasks that make today a win? And I can always add more, but if I can dial into those tasks, then I am reducing the likelihood that I get done the day and feel like a failure, or feel like I didn't hit the target. Right? And that's really what we're aiming at. So again, 10 minutes, what's my intention? What's my focus for today? And what are the 3 to 5 things that if I got them done would make today a win? That's your power list, and that's where you're going to move from. Now, the second habit that we're going to really lean into with our 10 minutes to set our morning right is movement. Because when we move our body, it creates focus. It creates energy. Now, the key here is understanding what kind of movement's best for you, understanding what kind of movement you can do. It doesn't always have to be a workout. If it can be, you'll probably feel better. It will set the stage for the rest of the day. And you can even think of an exercise, like a workout routine, being condensed down to the most important exercises. So if you only had 10 minutes, do squats, do some push-ups, do some rows. You'll be in a better place. But movement can also look like a stretching routine. Some days I wake up and I'm like, wow, like my back is tight, my hips are tight. I need to stretch. Okay, I'm going to roll out the mat, do 10 minutes of stretching, do some glute exercises, do some things that make me feel better for the day. And what's amazing is during that time, phone away, whether there's music playing or even like a motivational video or a podcast, I am also kind of creating that power list, right? I am thinking in my head like, okay, what's the intention today? What are the results? What am I focused on? But just having that 10 minutes of movement really does set the state to remember what the focus is for the day.
Yeah, it could even be a walk.
Yeah.
Right? And if you have the ability to get sunshine, that is going to make you more alert. It's going to increase your serotonin levels. It's going to make it so that you are more prepared to go into your day. So 10 minutes of a walk, yeah, that's 1,000 steps. That might not seem like enough. That might not seem like it matters. But again, it's more than you're doing, right? And it's 10 minutes to actually clear your mind. And if you have faith, that's your time to pray, right? Or it's your time where you can just clear out all the garbage from whatever you were dreaming about or whatever you were dealing with yesterday and just come back to the present. So it's really, really helpful. 10 minutes of movement. The third habit that you can implement into your morning routine in 10 minutes or less is some form of meditation. Now, meditation doesn't require you to sit cross-legged with your palms facing up. Meditation can be a YouTube video in your ears that's a 10-minute meditation where you're just sitting in a chair, eyes open, sitting in the sun or on your porch or what have you. It can be 10 minutes of focusing on just your breathing, right? Or it can be a form of breath work. Breath work, if you aren't familiar with it, is basically controlled breathing patterns. You might have a breath pattern that you're trying to focus on for 5 to 10 minutes where you're inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, exhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds. That's called a box breath. You might have a breathing pattern where you're inhaling, holding for 4 seconds, and then exhaling for 6 to 8 seconds. That form of breathing is uneven breath, which reduces cortisol and makes you feel more calm. There are different forms of breath patterns that you can test out. And again, you can find this on YouTube, or we could even link meditations below. But it's just this idea of getting up in the morning and doing something that centers you. Meditation is a really great way to do that.
Yeah,
so that's that third.
For a lot of our clients, I've put in, and we'll put this in the show notes, we'll actually add this, a 1-minute meditation.
Yeah, let's do it.
1 minute of stillness breathing. And they're like, wow, I didn't realize how much that would help, right? So you understand that if you wake up and you're in stress or in anxiety, your physiology is the fastest way to change how you feel, right? So if I sit here and I go for a minute, I'm actually coming back down to homeostasis. I'm giving myself space to rethink about the day, right? Or just not even think. I'm coming back to the present moment. So that time of meditation can be really useful. And again, like Lindsay said, there's different tools, right? So I like to, if I wake up and I'm a little groggy, I might do some Wim Hof breathing, some really intense, like 40 breaths in, hold my breath, and then exhale. It's very helpful. But you can find your way once the habit is built.
Yes.
So that's the key. Think of the habit as like the 10-minute spacer you're putting in place. If you have that 10 minutes, you can figure out like, oh, well, today I want to work out, or today I want to journal. Today I'm not necessarily focused, so I need to meditate and breathe, right? All we're suggesting is that you figure out the 10-minute block that works great for you. And then the habits that you put in place can be subjective based off of what you need in that moment. Now, obviously, choose something and target that consistently for maybe a week to 2 weeks to a month, and then play with it. But what we're really talking about is that 38% foundation, right? If we have the foundation set to be 1% better, works a lot better, or works a lot easier.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And when we think in habit number 4, we're thinking more actions now, right? Things that you can physically do with your body, maybe things that feel more action-oriented rather than writing. A great habit to put in place in your morning is preparing a healthy breakfast. Doesn't mean you have to eat first thing when you wake up, but taking 10 minutes to actually prepare a breakfast for yourself would make a world of difference, right? You'd probably actually eat in the morning. You wouldn't wait until you're starving in the middle of the afternoon and then shove the lunch that you grabbed down the street in 5 minutes, right? You would actually have that mindful practice of eating breakfast. And here's the thing, a healthy breakfast really does take only 10 minutes. Like one of Brian's favorite breakfasts is a couple of eggs cooked in a skillet with avocado. Healthy protein, healthy fat source. It's going to make you more awake, alert, energized, and will keep you from having an energy crash mid-morning. So I like to have oatmeal. That's a 5 to 6 minute breakfast. 2 minutes in the microwave, mix in protein powder, mix in some nuts. And again, healthy protein, healthy fat, a little bit of carbs as well, because that's what I like to have in the morning. But it's a really easy way to get fuel in your body in your morning.
The ideal breakfast for someone who is trying to rework their, we'll say, nutrition habits is going to be high fat, high protein.
Yeah.
You spend most of your day eating carbohydrates. Remember, I was listening to one of our clients talk about their breakfast the other day. I was like, oh my God, when I eat cereal, I just crave it so much. It's like, yeah, because you're literally pounding sugar. You're literally pounding sugar.
Yeah.
You're just eating sugar. And that spikes your insulin levels. You feel the rest of the day incredibly hungry because you aren't eating anything that's leveling your body out. So understanding that, hey, 10 minutes to cook maybe 2 whole eggs, a couple egg whites, have a couple greens right on the side with half avocado or a quarter avocado. It's like 400 calories, and you're going to feel so much better, especially if you're talking about how do you influence the rest of the day.
Yeah.
How do you influence the rest of the day? Well, if I start by eating something healthy that makes me feel good, it makes me feel full, makes me feel satiated, well, when it comes time for lunch, I've already eaten healthy. I'm not going to screw this up. So just that anchor and understanding that, hey, cook yourself a healthy breakfast, or even, cook yourself a healthy breakfast, and while it's cooking,
prepare lunch.
Prepare lunch. Amazing, right? But because we have that 10 minutes, we can do something like that.
Now, for this last one, it might sound almost too simple, but if all else fails and you've got 5 to 10 minutes before you start your day, habit number 5 is hydrate yourself. Hydrate yourself. Most people do not get enough water throughout the day, and that is actually one of the main reasons that they are so groggy, they're so tired, they can't focus. Yes, there's other components and factors involved, like you're not moving throughout the day, or you're not sleeping, or you're not eating enough. But for so many people, if they just drank enough water, which for most people is around 100 ounces of water a day, if not more, they would feel so much better. And they'd have so much more mental clarity and focus. So if you can just hydrate, first thing when you wake up, 16 to 32 ounces, that's going to have a massive ripple effect on the rest of your day. And you're probably going to drink more water too, right? You're going to make healthier decisions, healthier actions, and that's going to set you up for a healthier day overall, because I said, I'm going to wake up and be healthy today. I'm going to have water before my coffee. That's it. Makes a big difference.
So we hope this is helpful. We hope this starts to kind of change your mindset around the morning routine, and also empowers you to take action. Take action. Pick one of these habits and put it in place, because you will feel better, your days will go better, and more importantly, you will become a healthy person. You are a healthy person because of what you do. So start your day with health. Start your day with something simple. And remember that it is going to influence the rest of your day. And if you're someone who thinks, well, it's not going to, well, then that's just you acting out of defiance. You don't want to be fixed. You don't want to be helped.
Yeah.
And so therefore, you're going to stay the same, right? But if you do follow these practices, they will ripple into your life, and you will feel better. Your days will go better, and you'll see the results that you want.
Absolutely. Now, as we're discussing this, right, this area of your morning routine, and we like we started at the beginning, if you're feeling scattered, if you're feeling, oh my gosh, I just don't even know where to start, then we want you to listen for the next minute, because we have something super simple that's going to be really helpful for you. We have seen so many clients coming into our world recently that are just exhausted. Their biggest challenge with fitness isn't that they don't know what to do. They have an idea, right? It's that they're too busy or too tired to fit it in. Common challenge. If that's where you're at, it's completely okay. The real reason we wanted to put together this challenge that I'm going to share with you is because we want to show you that it's a lot easier to regain your energy and get a strong sense of mental clarity than you might think. Most people assume that they need to do everything. They need to overhaul their life. When in reality, if they knew those small little behaviors that have a massive upside, they would be so much more empowered to actually do them, right? To bridge that gap between knowing and actually doing. So what we created, we put together this 5-day challenge that's naturally going to give you more energy and mental clarity without requiring a lot of time. Now, this challenge is focused on naturally resetting your energy without any BS supplements that you have to put in your water and drink or time-consuming workouts. Now, we plan to not only give you this 5-day challenge, it's called the Energy Reset Challenge, but we're also going to coach you through it so that you have some sense of accountability and guidance and not just, again, a checklist of things to do. So if you want to reset your energy, you need to get that spark back and get some momentum, then go ahead, find the link in the show notes, whether you're on YouTube or podcasts, and sign up for the 5-day Energy Reset Challenge. Again, this is going to come right to your inbox. It's going to be super simple, and it's going to really build off of what we're talking about today so that you can get your energy back, especially going into spring and summer. Such busy but beautiful seasons where you can get outside, you can hike, but only if you have the energy to do the things you want to do. It starts with this challenge, and we're here to really coach you up and help you get to where you want to be. So if you're interested, grab that link below, get signed up, and then we'll see you in the challenge.
So we hope this is helpful. If you're on YouTube, give this video a thumbs up and let us know in the comment section what your big takeaway was. If you're on Apple, screenshot this, shout us out in your Instagram stories. And again, let us know your big takeaway because we always love engaging and hearing from you. But thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. Go out and conquer your day.
Cheers.
Cheers.